Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
So with the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. 10th December every year is commemorated as Human Rights Day. The theme for 2025 is Human Rights, Our Everyday Essentials. In this period of turbulence and unpredictability, where many feel a growing sense of insecurity, disaffection, and alienation, the theme of Human Rights Day is to reaffirm the values of human rights and show that they remain a winning proposition for humanity. Through the campaign, we aim to re engage people with human rights by showing how they shape our daily lives, often in ways we not always notice. Too often taken for granted or seen as abstract ideas, human rights are essentials we rely on every day. By bridging the gap between the human rights principles and everyday experiences, we aim to spark awareness, inspire confidence, and encourage collective action. The campaign emphasizes that human rights are positive, essential, and attainable. So, across the world, people are sharing what makes up their everyday essentials, the moments, values, and rights that matter most. Share your everyday essentials and show how human rights shape your daily life. So, human rights, our everyday essentials, human rights are positive. They not only protect, they also bring joy, happiness, and safety into life. Human rights are also lived realities. They are in the flood we eat, the air we breathe, the words we speak, the opportunities we pursue, or the protection that keeps us safe. Human rights are essential. They are the essentials we all share, the common ground that unites us across differences of race, gender, belief, or background. In a world of uncertainty, human rights remain our everyday constants. When everything feels unstable, your rights to safety, to speak freely, to participate in decisions that affect us become the bedrock of our lives. Human rights are attainable. They begin with us, with the small everyday choices we make, from treating others with respect, speaking up against unfairness, and listening to those whose voices are often ignored. Everyday choices and voices matter more than you may realize. They build a culture of dignity and fairness around us. But human rights also depend on the collective action when communities, movements, and nations come together to demand justice and equality. So, Human Rights Day and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is observed annually around the world on 10th December. It commemorates the anniversary of one of the world's most groundbreaking global pledges. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, the landmark document enshrines the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled to as a human being, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political, or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on 10th December 1948 and sets out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected. As a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations, the UDHR is a global blueprint for international, national, and local laws and policies, and a bedrock of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It is available in 577 languages from Akbas to Zulu, making the UDHR the most translated document in the world. The first animated version of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights was created through the United Nations partnership with French digital artist Yachin Eitkachi, whose illustrated character Alex is the first digital ambassador of the United Nations. The animation uses symbolic movements to bring to the life of the 30 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, explore the works of talented amateur and professional photographers from exhibitors for the general public. They have been showcased over the years at the United Nations headquarters. Some of the human rights covered are indigenous peoples' rights, the Nazi genocide of the Roma and Sinti, sexual violence in conflict, and the plight of the Palestinian people. Know your rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights holds the Guinness World Record as the most translated document, yet far too many people are still unaware of their basic rights as human beings. Drafted by representatives of diverse legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions of the world, the Declaration sets out universal values and a common standard of achievement for all peoples and nations. It establishes the equal dignity and worth of every person. Thanks to the Declaration and states' commitment to its principles, the dignity of the millions of uplifted, the foundation for more just world has been laid. While its promise is yet to be fulfilled, the very fact that it has understood the test of time is testament to the enduring universality of its perennial values of equality, justice, and human dignity. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights empowers us all. The principles enshrined in the Declaration are as relevant today as they are in 1948. We need to stand up for our own rights and those of others. We can take action in our daily lives to uphold the rights that protect us all, thereby promote the kinship of all human. So human rights are everyone's rights. Know your rights and help spread the word. Stand up for human rights. Human rights aren't abstract ideas. Even when we don't notice them, we live and exercise them every day in countless ways. It is spending time with friends or family, drinking clean water, speaking freely, enjoying music and art, walking safely down the street, working in a fair and healthy environment. All of these are human rights in action, part of our everyday lives. Now we want to hear from you. We are everyday essentials that make up your life. Share them with us to be part of our collective story. Today is also commemorated as Nobel Prize Day. which falls on December 10th. Every year it honors the achievements of Alfred Bernhard Nobel, a Swedish engineer, chemist, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. We all have heard about Nobel Prize that recognizes outstanding achievements in various fields in the arts and sciences. Nobel Prize Day is a tribute to the person who instituted the prize. Alfred Nobel was born to an impoverished parents in Stockholm, but his father was a descendant of a very highly regarded Swedish scientist and writer, Olof Rudbeck. His father was an engineer himself, and Alfred Nobel expressed early interest in engineering and explosives in particular. So this, of course, bore results with Nobel becoming interested in stabilizing the unpredictable explosive nitroglycerin as early as his teenage years, despite one of his brothers dying in the tragic accident involving his pursuit. The Nobel financially successful Nobel also invented weaponry for military purposes and started companies to sell these. When a French newspaper carried a false obituary of Nobel criticizing him for his role in warfare, he re-evaluated his life's goals and decided to use his earnings to set up a prize that recognized the best in humanity. The prizes in the different categories reflect his own interest in various fields. Apart from being an entrepreneurial engineer, he was also a writer. While Nobel is still criticized for the role he played in furthering military technology, the Nobel Prizes, including the Prize for Economics, which was added later, are considered the most prestigious achievement for practitioners in those fields. After many trials, including a fatal one, Nobel is successful in stabilizing nitroglycerin and developing dynamite in 1867. In his last will, Nobel decides to leave the bulk of his fortune to institute the Nobel Prizes in 1895. So the first batch of awardees received their prizes, including Jean Henry Jouin for founding the International Red Cross movement in 1901. The Swedish Central Bank requests this edition on this third centenary through its donation to the Nobel Foundation. Today is also commemorated as International Animal Rights Day. The rights of furry friends are celebrated annually on International Animal Rights Day on December 10th. This day is shared with Human Rights Day as it should be, because animals have the right to be treated with respect, and acts of cruelty against them need to end just as for humans. So for hundreds of years, man have been killing and mistreating animals for personal gain, whether it is the exploitation of meat or animal fur for the sake of fashion and art. The justification that is done out of necessary has been really pushed. In 1948, the UN passed the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights on December 10, following the torture subjected to humans during World War II in concentration camps by Nazi Germany. After this, organization, associations, and individuals from around the world started demanding this declaration should be extended to the animal kingdom, and that December 10th should be also a day for advocating the rights of animals. 22 years after the UN passed their historic declaration, the word speciesism was coined in 1970 to discuss and encourage dialogue on the discrimination against sentient beings based on their species. The whole idea that animals are inferior and live for the sole purpose of catering to the needs and wants of humans. In an irrational prejudice against them, just as certain segments of the human race are suffering due to sexism and racism. Animals suffer just as much, if not more, because they can't defend themselves. Despite the coining this term, it wasn't until 1998 when an official statement was passed for animal rights. Uncaged with which is an animal protection organization, created international animal rights to shed light on all types of violence against animals. The founders behind this day stated that since animals cannot protest, vote, or advocate for their own protection, it is the responsibility of humans to do it for them. December 10 was intentionally chosen so that International Animal Rights Day falls on the same day as the Human Rights Day. Since then, events, demonstrations, and fundraisers, often covered by traditional media, have been organized worldwide to expose the reality of animal abuse and exploitation. So, upon Sinclair releases The Jungle, a book that shone a light on slaughterhouse operations in 1906, PETA is founded one of the biggest animal rights activist organization. People for Ethical Treatment of Animals is established in America on March 22nd, 1980. So Impossible Foods is established by Patrick Brown to reduce the slaughtering of animals for meat in 2011. Singer Cher, along with several animal rights organizations, rescues Kavan, the lonely elephant, after a grim 35 years of captivity in Pakistan in 2020. Cher saves the world's loneliest elephant. So the celebration of World Animal Day on October 4th, a separate holiday from International Animal Rights Day, catalyzes the global movement to make the world a better place for animals. Human rights and animal rights aren't that different. In fact, the line should be blurred. Just as all humans live, lives are precious. Animal lives are important too. And essentially, any act that can be classified as cruelty against humans is most definitely also an act of cruelty against animals. PETA stands for the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. If you want to go beyond campaigning a digital awareness, write an article on animal rights for your local newspaper. If you have the young children in your family, teach them to always be kind to animals. With the depiction of violence and viral videos on the rise in mainstream media, it is a good idea to teach youngsters to never take the subject of animal abuse lightly. This is probably something that cannot be done overnight, but you can start small by boycotting. So this is probably something that cannot be done overnight, but you can start small by boycotting companies that continue to conduct testing on animals. It's a small step, but it will have a big effect in the long run for sure. So the meat industry collectively produces more greenhouse gases than all transportation of the world together. And as male chicks cannot lay eggs or grow fast, they are usually killed hours after hatching, and they are either gassed or ground up alive, so no less than a concentration camp. According to the World Bank, animal agriculture is to blame for approximately 91% of the Amazon rainforest destruction and depletion. Many modern factory farms practice tail docking, dehorning, castration, and debeaking of animals on a daily basis, and to it off without anesthesia, so not a friendly farms. So the growing trend of wildlife selfies has resulted in a dramatic increase in number of animals who are abused for photos in the tourism industry. So we absolutely love how there are ongoing awareness campaigns on social media against discrimination based on the color, race, and ethnicity. International Animal Rights Day serves to remind us that the humanity and kindness should be all for sentient creatures or not just for humans. Advocating for animal rights is nothing short of a revolution. Ending animal cruelty means completely revamping our lifestyles so that we are not so reliant on the exploitation of animals for progression in science, medicine, fashion, and the food industry. So, International Animal Rights Day is a serious holiday that gives us a lot to reflect on, but it also gives the chance to love our furry friends more and go to the extra mile in taking care of them. So, give the strays in your neighborhood a treat, visit a shelter and play with the animals there, and maybe cuddle and hold your pet a little closer today. Today is also commemorated as Iraq Victory Day in Iraq, celebrated on December 10th every year, marked as a public holiday and commemorates Iraq's victory over the Islamic State ISIS, an extremist Islamic rebel uprising in Iraq and neighboring Syria. In December 2017, Iraqi Prime Minister at the time, Haider al-Abadi, declared the final victory over the Islamic State after Iraqi forces drove the last remnants of ISIS from the country. This happened 3 years after the militant group apprehended around a third of Iraq's territory. The announcement came 2 days after the Russian military announced the defeat of the militants in neighboring Syria. The US, NATO, Russia, and Iran were instrumental allies in helping Iraq win the fight against ISIS. Today is also commemorated as Festival for the Souls of Dead Whales in US on December 10th. We memorialize all the souls of the whales who died from whaling and other harmful man-made activities. It's also a day to appreciate their role in aquatic environment and celebrate mysteries behind giant water creatures. In addition, this is also an opportunity to learn more about whaling, its history, economic purpose, and negative impact on the whale community. So, whaling refers to the whale hunting for food and other whale products such as blubber. While the exact origin of whaling is unknown, records show that humans have been hunting whales for thousands of years. In fact, it is a second nature to the most people living in aquatic regions. While it is a cultural norm for most centuries, it's also well-being as one of the leading causes of the whale deaths. 4,000 years ago, Aboriginal communities in Norway spearheaded whaling for food and oil. People discovered that every part of the whale is usable, from its meat, skin, and blubber to its organs, which are a good source of vitamins, minerals, proteins, and fats. Whaling quickly rose to prominence as other neighboring regions started adopting it. In warmer climates, the whale's baleen was used for roofs, and the bones were repurposed into carving tools. From the Middle Ages to the Renaissance, the entire Northern Europe region adopted whaling. Whale bones were primarily used for corsets and hoop skirts, and whale oil was extracted from the blubber and head cavities. So these were deemed valuable commodities and spiked the country's economy. At the point, whaling became a lucrative industry. During the mid 1700s, searching whales in the Atlantic region became increasingly difficult. Americans would expand their whaling operations through the whale-rich ocean waters of the Arctic and Antarctic regions. By the 1800s, whaling peaked in the US following advancements in whale hunting technology, including steamships with gun-loaded harpoons. By the early 1900s, whaling had become a multi-million-dollar industry. It wasn't until 1971 that the US outlawed whaling after deeming 8 whales as endangered species. Nowadays, the act is considered illegal in most countries. So, a whale's lifespan varies by species. However, they live between 10 to 100 years on average. According to the National Geographic, it's physical it's physically impossible for whales to swallow humans. Killer whales are apex predators at the top of the food chain. Whale watching with the friends and family is a great way to celebrate the festival for the souls of dead whales. It's one activity to appreciate these gentle giants and learn about their behavior and importance to the aquatic environment. Support non-profit organizations dedicated to saving whales not only will help you their financing for research, but also for the development of more advanced tools that ensure whales are protected from man-made activities. There are countless documentaries about whale life and the dangers of whaling available to stream. You can spend this day on your couch with your kids to educate them about the importance of saving these aquatic animals. While whaling is now forbidden worldwide, Japan and Iceland still allow this activity in their territories. Since 1986, approximately 25,000 whales have been killed for scientific research. It's illegal when it's for scientific research. The blue whale is endangered. Today, the population of blue whales have reduced from 220,000 to 3,000 worldwide. Humpback whales feed off their fat and could last a year without eating, without a mag with a maximum height of 110 feet and a maximum weight of 330,000 pounds. The Antarctic blue whale is the biggest animal on the planet. So the Festival of the Souls of Dead Whales not only commemorates the lives of murdered whales, but also protects those living still. Their population is critically low, and raising awareness of these endangered species is a great way to educate people on why whaling is and should remain illegal. Educate your kids young, introduce them to the role of whales in balancing our aquatic ecosystems. Whales capture a significant amount of carbon in our atmosphere, playing a crucial role in halting climate change. Whales are gentle giants of the great unknown. It's fascinating to learn about whales and how they navigate the deep mysteries of the ocean. Today is also commemorated as Devi Decimal System Day on December 10th in US. Honors Melville Devi and the library classification system he created to efficiently maintain our library's inventory of books. With over 1 billion people visiting public libraries every year, it's vital to have an easy to read system for us to find the exact location of the books we hope to read. So, Melville Devi, the creator of the framed Devi's decimal system, which classifies mostly non-fiction library books and resources, was born on December 10th, 1851 in New York, and this date has been adopted to celebrate and honor him annually for Devi Decimal System Day. Devi created his proprietary system of library resource classification while working at the Amherst College Library at the age of 21. The Devi Decimal System was first published in 1876 and is now the most widely used system around the world in over 2 lakh, 2 lakh libraries in the 135 countries. So the 20th edition of the system has been published by the late 20th century. So the system allows us to locate resources by topic assigned to one of the 10 classes. The 10 main groups are 000 to 099, general works, 100 to 199, philosophy and psychology, 200 to 299, religion, 300 to 399, social sciences, 400 to 499, language, 500 to 599, natural sciences and mathematics, 600 to 699, technology, 700 to 799, the arts, 800 to 899, literature and rhetoric, and 900 to 999, history, biography, and geography. So each class is further categorized into 10 hierarchical divisions, which are then subcategorized into 10 sections. The Davis system numerical classification provides a shorthand identification and location. The notation lends itself to memory through the constant repetition of a standard pattern, area, arrangement, different numbers for particular languages through parallel subject developments, and pattern repetition of standard subdivisions such as theory, history, geography, and so on. It's hard to believe it's been over 100 years since the original introduction of Dewey Decimal System. Today, Americans check out an average of 7 items from their local libraries every year, so need to maintain order continues. The digital age made the beautiful card catalog cabinets housing the index cards listing the decimal classification system obsolete. Interestingly, Devi also helped to create the index cards themselves. The same year created the Devi decimal system. Devi founded the Library Bureau, a company selling index cards and filing cabinets. So today is also commemorated as Constitution Day in Thailand. Constitution Day takes place annually on December 10th. However, if it falls on weekend, it will be observed the following Monday. So this year it will take on December 10th. The Thailand adopted the first permanent constitutional monarchy in 1932. On this day, all government offices, schools, banks, and commercial establishments are closed, and Thai people hold parades, fireworks, and festivities to thank the monarchy for limiting its power. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us in today's commemorations and celebrations. We wish you all happy Human Rights Day and Animal Rights Day once again. And let us all pledge to protect human rights and animal rights. So before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form and see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link with different commemorations and celebrations.